The D.Fos Podcast. Welcome to another episode of the D.Fos Podcast, episode number 13. We didn't have a little hiatus, but we are back, and I'm so excited to have this guest on. It's my man J.Love. Been waiting to get him on. We've been chopping it up for a minute. I was on his show. I told him, we're going to return the favor because it's a lot to chop up. So welcome to the show, bro.
D.Fos, thank you for having me, brother. It's about time.
Absolutely, it's about time. I kept telling you, I said, man, when I'm back online, man, you're going to be the first guest in the seat.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Man,
and I told you, I remember I told you a little bit outside the air that, I went through my little spiel for a minute. So it was kind of dry. It was kind of in between seasons and everything. But we here now, man.
Yeah,
we here, man.
Yeah.
So welcome to the show. J.Love, man, I think we've been rocking for, I can't even remember, man. We know each other mutually from UPS. How long you been in UPS now?
About to be 11 years.
So we've been rocking for about 11 years. I think I know him. When I first seen him on the set, I knew you struck me as a kind of a young cat, but you had an old soul. Just the way you moved,
appreciate that.
Just the way you handled management, and you didn't let them put nothing on you. I said, this cat's kind of sharp, man. You know what I mean?
Appreciate that.
And then when you and CJ did the podcast, and I'm like, okay, I didn't know he was deep like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I knew he was straight.
Kind of keep it a secret.
Yeah. I said, I the surface conversations, but then when you get those other conversations, I'm like, okay, it's somebody I can kind of link with and connect with, man. Just our little previous conversations, I knew you was on one, man. So once again, welcome to the show, man. First and foremost, man, was you born in Vegas?
No, man. Originally, I was born in San Bernardino, California.
Okay.
Born in San Bernardino, California, but raised in Carson, California.
Carson, okay. Man, that's crazy. Now, how long you been in Vegas?
Ooh, I came out here in about 2009, went back, and then came back. So I'll say in total, maybe, I'm going to just say, as long as I've been at UPS. So I'll say,
almost the whole rip, huh?
Yeah.
So what was it like? So you was in Carson last. Okay, I heard a little bit about Carson. Now, how far is that from Vegas, drive-wise? Like
maybe 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
Not too bad, not too bad.
Still got family up there?
My pops, mother, brother, sister.
Is that right? You the only one came out here?
I'm the only one out here, man.
Solo.
Lone wolf.
That's crazy. What brought you out this way, man?
Trying to make a better situation, a fresh start.
Okay.
You seen the show Cheers? Remember that show Cheers?
Okay, Cheers. Okay.
My dad used to watch that all the time.
Okay.
And at the beginning of the show, they got that song. Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name.
Right.
Well, sometimes you want to go where nobody knows your name.
Yeah. Just a clean slate.
Slate.
Yeah, clean. So how old was you when you hit Vegas?
I was 18.
Really?
Yeah, 18.
Man, you was a young buck, man.
Yeah, I dropped out of college and was like, man, let me come out here, man.
And had you been here before? Like, what made it?
Yeah,
I've
been since I was 7. There was I don't know if it's called this now, but there was a basketball tournament called the Big Time Tournament.
Okay.
So from 7 all the way to 18, I've been coming out here at least 2-3 times a year,
back and forth for the tournament.
Yeah, to playing a basketball tournament.
So speaking on that, you used to ball. I know you got a sports background.
That's,
you used to hoop?
That's what I did, man. That's what I did.
Through what? Through high school?
High school, college. Had opportunity to go play overseas.
Is that right?
But made the decision not to go.
Okay.
And I think that was probably one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. Absolutely.
Man. You strike me as you could have been like a 2 guard or something.
No, I was a point guard. Man, I am 5'11". I am
I don't know
small.
why you always seem tall to me, man.
Because you kind of short in D.Fos.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
You're not the tallest man alive.
You always seem like a 6-foot cat to me, man. You was a point guard, huh?
Yeah.
Is that right? And so what changed that decision? Because usually like sports is like the ticket out for a lot of cats. It's like, okay, man, I'm gonna do this. Even though, like, looking back now, like realizing that like it's a small window and a whole bunch of cats try to fit through that window. So what changed it? Like, what changed it before you even got to that route?
The best way I can explain it, because a lot of people at UPS, they find out that I was borderline a professional athlete, and they always they ask me that. And I asked them, I'm like, hey, how long you been driving? You tired of driving, right?
Right.
So if you've done something, right, you think about everybody who's like in the NBA, NFL, anybody who's playing professional sports now, they've already had a career in this before they made it.
Before they made it,
to professional
absolutely.
sports.
Absolutely. A lot of mileage.
A lot of mileage. So I had already, like we were talking about outside, I was in the burnout. Like,
already?
I'm like, man, because you got to think, I had already been doing it 15 years.
Okay.
You know, I'm like, all right, man, I'm tired of running. I'm tired of lifting
running up
weights.
And down and the conditioning and all that stuff like that. Yeah. But was it like, you said you almost could have went to play overseas. So how many years did you do in college?
I did athletically 2, but like education-wise, 4.
Was it the JUCO?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in a JUCO, then later on it got turned into a D2. So so it was one of them serious JUCOs that wasn't really a JUCO.
And so even by then, you was already like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. Did you feel like, because a lot of cats feel like sports, they so wrapped up as their identity. Did you feel like a part of you was dying, or did you feel like it was time to move on?
I felt like both of those. I felt like, number one, I can't just be a basketball player. Is that all I do?
Yeah.
That can't be all there is to me.
Yeah.
And then the other part is I've always, even till this day, I'm a very curious person.
Okay.
Mainly curious about myself.
Okay.
So I always
knowledge yourself.
Yeah. So I always thought, well, what else can I do? What else am I about? So I decided to take an adventure.
Really?
And the adventure led me here.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. So what was like when you first got here? You say 2009. That was kind of, it don't even seem that long ago, bro. You know what I mean? We're in 22 now, 23 now. What was the first thing you did when you got here? What was the first thing you did?
The first thing I got here was laid on the couch, chilled in the house, and tried to figure my life out.
Really? Like what I'm gonna do now? Like what
I'm gonna do now?
Okay.
Because there were 2 options. So I came out here, and I knew my lady, and I knew some dudes that I met in college who were in the street life.
Okay, in the streets. Yeah,
so the majority of my time, I'm kicking it with my homies that are in the street life. And, you know, I'm 18, 19. I'm seeing 18, 19-year-old dudes going out making $7, $8, $9, $10,000 in a night.
Racks.
Racks in a night. And I'm like, okay, this is different.
Yeah.
I like it, but, I don't think this is me, though.
It's like, it's almost always like the risk and the reward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody want like what it looked like, but don't nobody want what it feel like.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And until that come.
So I had the privilege of being with these guys.
Seeing it.
Every day. Like, living with them, dropping off, picking up.
Really? Just seeing it go down.
Really being there.
Yeah.
And seeing the real negatives that come with it.
Both sides of it.
Seeing people lose their lives, seeing people get locked up. And I'm like, ooh, no, I can't do that, man.
Yeah. It's a cold game, and nobody really wins in that game.
No.
You know what I mean? And you got to, like you say, you got to look at every element of it. You know what I mean? But you wasn't the least bit like, man, because some cats be like, let me jump in for a minute, let me knock and
Tried
let me
and was
get
bad.
out.
Tried and was bad at it.
Tried and was bad at it.
Tried and was bad
Hey,
at
it
it.
ain't for everybody.
And you know, that's one of the things I really respect about myself is you got to know when you're not about that life.
Right.
You got to know when something's not for you.
Right.
And it wasn't too long. It was like maybe a week of trying something.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, no, I can't do this.
Really?
I can't talk to her like this.
Yeah.
I don't feel good talking to you like this after I do that.
Yeah.
Let me know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was one of them dudes, hey, I'm sorry I had to talk to you like that. Let me apologize to you.
That's crazy. But they was getting some bands though.
Yeah, for sure. It was a great life experience to actually see and to more or less be like a fly on the wall.
Okay. See, like the inside workings really how it go down. Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. Said I gotta figure this thing out. Especially at that age, 18, that's so which direction I'm gonna go. Was it anything that really struck you like, okay, what am I gonna try next? Was it any kind of like career move or like
No, I had a couple random jobs like Home Depot, Walmart,
something to pay the bills?
Yeah, I think every young person was a telemarketer at one point. I did that.
Sales on the phone line?
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting job, dude, because you can almost be anybody in telemarketing. You just got to be who you got to be, behind the
like that movie, Sorry to Bother You, with Lakeith Stanfield and Danny Glover.
Yeah. You can kind of be anybody. So you didn't do that too long? Right?
No, that did not last.
That's crazy. I remember I used to sell, for the U, I sold timeshare, and it was so crazy because the first day I did it, I made like I did close 2 deals back to back. You got a percentage of them.
Okay.
and I made like $3,000. Never made so much money in my life. And I just sat down and talked to somebody for like an hour. You know, you bring these people in off the street. So say like a couple, they see them walking down the street. Hey, you gonna be in town this week? We got a free show tickets for you, right? So they grab them off the street, they put them on this bus, and they bring them to this resort. It was at, you familiar with the Jockey Club? You know where the Bellagio is?
I know where the Bellagio is.
It's a little place called the Jockey Club. And so whoever thought about the timeshare game was brilliant.
Okay.
Because here's how they do it. So say they have, just for the simple math, so say they have 100 units, right? These people are from out of town. They come to Vegas, they love Vegas, but what they do is sell each unit a week of each unit. So they sell each unit 52 times. It's 52 weeks in a year, right? Each unit, they sell it for like $27,000 or something like that, $30,000 or something like that. It's almost like a lightweight mortgage. You buying but you think about it. If you got 100 apartments, you selling that one apartment 52 times. Stupid, dude. Crazy, right? So I sat down, you talking to them, you got a suit on, you trying to persuade them to buy this timeshare. And everybody's like, oh, we really didn't come here for that. And so you got to really you got to really sell to the woman because she really wants it. The man's sitting there like this. We just want our show tickets. You know, let's hurry up. He's like this. So you really got to sell to the woman.
Okay.
But my point is, and so I thought it was the greatest job in the world. I leave and I'm not sore, I'm not tired. It's all mouthpiece. Mouthpiece. And I didn't even know what I was doing then. This was probably somewhere around that time, 2008, somewhere like that. But then I hit a streak, 40 people in a row, couldn't give it away. So it was all commission. And I was driving to the strip 20 miles one way, 20 miles back. I said, I can't do it no more.
All commission.
I couldn't do it no more. Straight commission.
Bad deal.
It was like, oh, we didn't expect it. We don't got the money. Oh, it was every excuse in the world. But each sit you get, each table you get, you got to hit the table with enthusiasm like you just sold one. And it just wore me down, dude.
That is a skill. Sales is a real
skill. But the people that can sell, even if you selling your idea, a concept, and it's like, with Grant Cardone. I think we talked about Grant Cardone. He got a book called Sell or Be Sold. So either you selling them or they selling you why they not gonna do it. But it really is a skill and it's an art. And some of the highest paid people are off sales. And the reason why I like it because there's no salary cap on your money. There's no ceiling. There's no hourly. You know, if you can do 3 deals, you can do 3 deals. You know what I mean? So, but sales is crazy.
That's interesting to go. It's interesting to go from a suit to
a monkey
truck.
suit. Yeah, on this truck. And I almost went back into it. I had a couple partners that was into it. And now they doing a base pay. So you get maybe like $20 an hour.
That's better.
Plus your commission.
Yeah, way better.
Right. But then I was just like, I can't go back, dude. I got guaranteed money now. You know, and I could it was just too long.
Guaranteed
in between.
good checks.
Yeah. And I mean, it was nice, man. I mean, like you in a suit, you just talking to people.
Yeah.
You like this, majority of the day you sitting down and doing paperwork. You know what I mean? So, but it is a different contrast to go from that to on that truck where you humping and grinding and everything. So, but I just thought that was interesting how you was talking about sales. That's crazy, man. So growing up in
Carson,
what were some of the things you was into as like your early childhood, man? What would you say? Because you like, and I think we'll touch on that. Like you just strike me as a deep brother. So what was some of the things you was into, man, early on, man?
To be all the way honest, basketball and football
was all basketball.
Is what I did. So, but what that did, which is why I tell whenever I talk to my friends, who have kids and their kids are playing sports, I always encourage them, keep them in sports because people might hear like, oh, all you did was play sports, like during your childhood, but that teaches a tremendous amount of discipline. The question, who am I? It teaches you a lot about who you are.
It might not be you. Huh?
It might not be you. It teaches you how far you can push yourself, how much you can take. There's so many life lessons. So my whole childhood was just life lessons through sports. That's what my early childhood was.
Even to build up the mental fortitude to know what it takes, and it even applies kind of like you can apply some of that stuff even to the you, man. Huh?
Yeah,
even that. Yeah. It was always sports, okay, until you got burnt out.
Until I got burnt out, and then the other part that was not till looking back on it later, a major part of my childhood was my dad throwing me books every once in a while. Like, hey, dog, read this.
Yeah.
Like, he wouldn't say nothing about it.
Really?
It would just like throw a book at me. Hey, man, read this. Hey, man, read this. And
like,
then,
so how could you have been like what?
oh, maybe 13, 14 when that started.
So he
And
was into that knowledge. Do you remember kind of, was they self-help books? Like what kind of books was it, you think? Like,
a lot of his people were in the Black Panther Party.
okay,
Right? That's something I
okay.
found out later on in life.
Okay.
So
He probably came from that era, that 60s era,
Yes.
like, okay.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah,
So
okay.
a lot of his information was, or a lot of his mindset was around know who you are, have the best information possible to bring the best out of yourself.
Too, man. How did you get on the Ryan Holiday, and what do you feel about Stoicism?
How did I want to say Joe Rogan maybe is how I first heard of Ryan Holiday.
Was he as a guest when he was on there?
No.
him mention
He mentioned a book of his, and
Which one?
I want to say it was Meditations.
Meditation,
Marcus
Aurelius.
Aurelius.
Okay, Marcus,
And,
great one, yeah.
And I just remember reading that and being like, this might be the greatest thing I've ever read in my life.
Right. And you know how long ago that was? Like, we talking, what, 300 AD?
A long time ago.
That it can be applicable to
Today.
today's time.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's like mind blowing, man. And Ryan Holiday's cold. He breaks it down. You know, I signed up to his newsletter with the Daily Stoic.
Yeah.
When you get, it's just like he's able to pull so much content out of Stoic. It's amazing, man. But that's a good read. That's definitely a good read.
Because when I really think about it, because you ask, how did you like get into Stoicism, right? Stoicism is the same as whatever, creed or religion a person is.
Yeah.
All religions really are about self-empowerment. If you can pull the weeds back and understand the story,
Absolutely.
the stories are really all about self-empowerment.
Yeah.
If you can, make
That's
if you can
true.
make it through. If you can make it
If you
through.
can make it through, you make it. And that Stoicism, man, just the principles, it teaches a lot, bro. You know what I mean? I don't know how many people are up on it. I'm sure a lot of it is, but if people really tapped into it and just see what the stuff, like I say, these cats, Marcus Aurelius, Julius Caesar, that whole era, you know what I mean, of cats, man, is deep. Interesting note, I don't know if you know Ryan Holiday was kind of like Robert Greene's assistant.
Yeah, I did know that.
Yeah,
I
and
did
I
know
was
that.
like, okay, I can see where he get it at too. You know what I mean? You ever read Ego is the Enemy?
Yeah, of course.
That's a
of
good
course.
Yeah, that's a good one.
He just dropped Discipline is Destiny. That's his
Yeah,
latest book.
I got to get that one.
It's,
I got to get
I'll
that
shoot
one.
it. I'll shoot it to you.
Okay,
I
I
got it
gotta
at the
get that
house.
one.
It's another amazing one.
Is it?
He hasn't dropped a dud yet.
Right. That's what I noticed. He really hasn't, man. He really hasn't. What do you prefer? Physical, Kindle, or Audible?
Physical, man. There's
physical.
nothing like turning the pages.
Right. Yeah.
There's something different about the amount of focus of having the actual book in your face and having to sit down and like really dedicate your focus to it. Because I know, I'm pretty sure, you're like me, like you'll listen to audiobooks while you're out on the truck and there's so much stuff going on, you gotta rewind.
You gotta pause and you're missing stuff. Yeah, that's true too. And sometimes I have both sometimes because I like to just catch up on both. But the physical book, like I always take my own notes, right? So I highlight, and so if I find a particular page that has something on it, because it's hard to retain all that.
Yeah.
So what I'll do is go to the front of the book, write the page number down. Say I highlight a section on page 19, but I'll write at the front of the book where I put my notes at.
Okay.
So when I open the front, or when I die, my kids get my library, I've already got the cliff notes for them. They can go through it and be like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? It's hard to retain that stuff.
That is what you just said. You just said, you pass away and your kids get it. I think, and I came to this conclusion a long time ago, right? Maybe I might not be able to say all this like me and my dad had a very interesting relationship where his message was always good, but his delivery 9 out of 10 times was terrible.
It was terrible. It's hard to take the delivery. Yeah.
But I figured out later on in the books he was giving me where he was coming from.
Okay.
I see what you're trying to do. You just
he didn't just have the best method.
Yeah, he didn't have the best method.
Okay.
So I think that's a great way to books are. I think that's maybe outside of money. Books are probably the best thing that parents can leave for their children.
I think so. Reading too, man. I think my mother got me into books or something, and I took off with it, man. And I was, like I was telling you before the show, when I was in my spell last year, I even contemplated throwing my books away, man.
Oh, you didn't say that part.
Man, it was a bad spot, bro. And I was looking at them because they in my garage, and I was just like, what am I doing with all this stuff? Like, and I always, every day I always say, I can't buy another book. I'll find something, I gotta have it. Because I go to like thrift stores, I go like everywhere, Goodwill.
Okay.
$1, $2, like the title alone is worth more than that. So I clean up. But I came back to my senses, thank God, because I've accumulated this stuff just over years, man. You know what I mean? But I don't know what it was. But I think, you're right, what you just said. Even the guy Ty Lopez, right? He had this famous, I don't know if he's a big he's on YouTube. He's a big social media guy.
Okay, I haven't heard of him before.
Yeah, look him up, Ty Lopez. He has I found out about him. He did an interview with somebody, but he has something called the 67 steps. And it's 60, they say it takes about 60 something days before a habit to become ingrained.
Okay.
So he has these lessons that are 67 lessons that you go through, and it's some knowledge, man. But anyway, he did this. The reason why he blew up and went viral because he had this video that he did, and it's called "Here in My Garage." If you hit his page, it's probably the biggest video on his page. And he says, "Here in this garage, I got this Lamborghini, right?" But he said, "You know what's more important than this Lamborghini is the knowledge that I got that was able for me to get this Lamborghini." So it's not necessarily the material thing; it's the knowledge I've acquired to be able to get this.
Because check this out. I think people have a misinterpretation of what power is, right?
Right.
Like people think that, like how you talking about dude right now, how you just said the knowledge to get the Lamborghini is the power, and it's the same as when we talk about self-empowerment. It's that word in there. Like even when people say, money, power, respect, money is a form of power. Respect is a form of power.
Power,
and and on the most basic of understanding, you know, what's going on and how things are made, how life moves, what life is about, is a power problem. It's a power dynamic.
I agree.
The real successful or the people who I find make the most out of life really understand the dynamics of what power really is.
Yeah. I can agree with that. I can agree with that. It's no pun intended, powerful. You know what I mean? And then real power is quiet. You know what I mean?
I have a saying that I tell, you know, the people who I do have these type of conversations with. The most powerful things you cannot see.
You cannot see. Yeah.
Like real power doesn't say worship me or else.
Yeah. And it's not loud.
It's not loud.
Yeah.
Real power is don't breathe. See how long you'll be here.
Yeah.
The air's not saying breathe me.
It's not even saying nothing.
Yeah. Water's not saying drink me.
Yeah. Right.
Just don't use me and don't respect me and see how it goes.
Right. That's true.
See how it goes.
Don't got to say a word. Don't got to say a word.
And it's the same with emotions and desires. These are powers, like actual things that can be measured in like, you know, you take an EKG or whatever type of power measurement machine. They can be felt, but you cannot see them.
You can't see them.
And these are all power points that cause movement.
Yeah.
They cause a back and forth, just like a battery in a car. You got a positive and a negative. These forces or these powers cause friction, and friction is what makes movement.
Yeah. Excellent breakdown. I totally agree. Man. It's wild, man. It's wild, bro. Touching on another thing, like I said, our common intersection. How did you get to UPS, man?
How did I get here? I remember kicking it outside in my apartments while I was in college still. Okay. And I seen this dude pull up.
So you were still in Cali?
Yeah, I was still in Cali. And this dude pulled up. He had to be maybe 24, 25. And you know, I'm 18. And I'm like, this dude look like it's a fly dude right here. He looked real cool. I see him all the time.
Doing his thing.
And I never talked about, I never asked him how much money he made and nothing like that. He just seemed real happy. And he just looked like he was doing the right thing, right? Because you got to keep in mind, you know, I'm still 18 years old. I'm looking at all the examples of, because I'm already having the feelings of, I'm probably don't want to keep this basketball thing going. So I'm looking out to see who's happy.
Okay, who's happy? Yeah.
So I'm looking out to see who's happy, and I see this dude all the time, and he's extremely happy. So by the time I made the transition out here, I got the real playing in my mind. Like, who have I seen happy before?
In these jobs. Or whatever. Yeah. Okay.
So then, you know, I knew somebody who worked at UPS. They took a long time, but they got me in there.
It take a minute to get up.
It take a minute. It took me like 7-8 months.
Yeah.
I got in there. I was in the warehouse. I was still going to college out here. I was
But you on preload or local?
Yeah. No, I was preload.
Preload.
I was preloading, working at Macy's, and I was still going to CSN. I was in the
busy, man.
Yeah, I was in the opticians program, so I was getting ready to go to SC to be an optometrist.
That's with the glasses.
Yeah, I was getting ready to be an eye doctor.
Okay.
So, you know, you get cool with the drivers. So eventually one of the drivers busted open the check. He was like, hey, little bruh, look at this. This might be something you interested in. And I'm like, damn, you make more money than an eye doctor. I'm like, okay. So it wasn't.
I'm pretty sure he might have been tired. And that was back in the day.
Yeah.
That was back in the day.
He was topped out, still bringing home well into the six figures.
Yeah, nice.
So I'm like, okay, all right, dog. And I ain't got to sit in no office, and I'm an athlete. So I get to be out all day. I get to move. Nobody's over my shoulder.
I'm not in a cubicle.
I'm not in a cubicle. I like people, so I get to talk, converse to people at my discretion.
At my discretion.
And I'm pretty much my own boss. That's one thing I tell people. I am an employee for 10 minutes.
Okay.
At the beginning of the day.
At the beginning of the day.
And then for the rest of the day, I do what I want to do.
It's me.
It's all me.
Yeah.
So and I like that.
Yeah.
So
that
was
checked
appealing.
all the boxes.
It checked all the boxes.
Okay.
I was like, I'm paid. I work for myself for 90% of the day. Yep, deal.
Yeah, okay. Get paid every week.
Get paid every week, which I didn't know existed.
Yeah.
I was like, hold up.
You coming from at 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, man. You know. Wow, that's crazy. And so So then I guess you go through the program and all that.
Yeah.
Who was on the set when you came through? As far as, was it Donald there yet? Or like when you came through, who was there?
Donald was the preload manager.
Okay.
That's how.
So you worked under him?
Yes.
Okay.
And
okay.
John Albertson is whose truck I used to load.
Okay.
When he was a driver.
John
Albertson.
Dang, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
and
crazy.
A lot of people don't know at the building, Jay King was my first homie. Was my first
I
friend.
remember y'all said on the show, y'all said that.
He was my first friend. Me and him loaded.
That just kind of clicked up?
Immediately.
Really?
Immediately.
You got some history with Jay King. Shout out to Jay King, man. What's up, bro? That's crazy, man. And so early on, what did, because to me, like driving, like there's no easy job at UPS, and nothing is, everything takes more than what you're willing to give or more than what you expect. So what was your initial transition going from that to that? What did you think?
From like preload to driver?
Yeah, like what did you think? Did you embrace it immediately or just like, it's a little harder than what I thought? What was your initial thoughts?
My initial thought was, this is garbage. What type of work do I have to do right now? What did I say I'm about to do?
Wow.
And
how long did this take? How long after that? How long was it before?
This was immediately.
Really?
Because what happened was Donald got made the center manager at Red Rock, and he took a lot of young brothers with him, and I was one of them.
Okay.
And
so you said what? This is garbage after you was driving for a little while?
Maybe day 3 by myself.
Really?
I'm like, this is horrible. Who's supposed to figure this out? Because you got to keep in mind, this is our era of driving. There's no GPS.
There's no GPS.
There's no, you got.
And you was doing like Garcia and them routes.
I was doing Garcia's route. I was doing real man routes.
Grown man routes. Yeah.
20 air stops due by 10:30.
Yeah.
You got
15, no 12 o'clock air.
Yeah. No, that didn't exist. You got business savers. So it was a whole lot more to the job than it was now.
Right. So was you ready to be like second guessing it?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
That fast.
Immediately. But
even did you have a check in the back of your mind, or you're like, well, man, that check look, but it didn't even matter. That outweighed it.
What I had in the back of my mind, which is why whenever I talk to people, nobody could say nothing bad about Donald Jackson to me ever. Because the only thing I had in the back of my mind was, you get this right, your family history will change forever.
It will. Yeah,
and that constantly played in the back of my mind when I was having rough days, but coming from sports, knowing that whatever your problem is today, it's going to be a new problem tomorrow. This problem is not going to last forever.
Yeah.
So all you got to do is just sustain through the problem and just make it through it. And then
figure this out.
Yeah, and there'll be a new challenge tomorrow, but because you will have accomplished the last problem, you'll know you can accomplish the next one. Okay. So all I had to do was just rack that up. That's all I had to do.
Teaches you a lot, man.
Yeah, teaches you a lot.
Yeah. And then going back to even the sports analogy, the only thing I find kind of interesting is that how they say, whoever made up this term, the term industrial athlete.
Yeah, they got that right.
It's a horrible term, but it is
right.
They
got that right.
But here's the thing. An athlete plays an hour game. Drivers play like an 8 to 10 hour game.
Correct.
It's a lot of wear and tear on your body. We talked about this on your show, man. It's just like, are you kidding? You know what I mean? You've seen over the years some of the guys, the injuries they sustain, like sports injuries.
Dudes looking like they missing whole knees. Yeah, what happened to your shoulder, bro? Oh, I left it somewhere.
Yeah, I left it, and like it's like they don't get that mobility and movement back, bro. You know what I mean? And so you look at it like, okay, I'm getting the money, but I want to be able to walk when I leave.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like Earl Campbell. Earl Campbell used to run over cats. They used to try to pull his jersey off. You see him now, and he can't even walk.
Yeah, the best thing I think Earl Campbell ever did was
getting them hot links.
Hot links. That's exactly what I was about to say. Boy,
you got to transition, man. You got to transition. And so what were some of the biggest lessons that you were taught just from being a driver? That you learned, you would say. Definitely the discipline, the fortitude, like.
I would say probably one of the biggest things I learned, I just learned a lot about people. I learned a lot about people, mainly from the people that work here. The
work within the company.
That work within the company, specifically the drivers.
Okay.
I've learned a lot being in a seat, because if you think about it, if we got 150 drivers at our building, that's 150 successful men and women all doing this job, and they do the same thing you do.
The same thing. Yeah, that's true.
So you think about what you can think about. So what do all of us successful people have in common? Oh. What do we not have in common?
Yeah.
And
There's got to be some commonality.
Yeah, and even if you don't have these things in common, right? you can see how something that might work for you that doesn't work for somebody else doesn't hinder another person's ability to go grab success.
That's true. That's true.
So
That's
then like limitations and people's way of thinking, like there is no I heard this one time, there's not like a 1, 2, 3 success.
Right.
That doesn't exist.
Yeah.
There's an infinite amount of ways to get to a goal.
I truly believe it.
You don't have to think one way to accomplish something.
Yeah. I truly believe it. It's a lot, and like you said, 150 different people. Everybody has a different tolerance. Everybody has a different way of thinking. You know, and I used to think about it when I talk to drivers. I would be like, okay, I'm gonna take a page out of everybody's playbook. I'm gonna make my own playbook. Over the years, whether it be mentality, why you do this, or why you think like that. Oh, I just bop. Okay, that's interesting. So I think, and then it really to do that job, man. It ain't no punks there, man.
At all.
You know what I mean? It takes a lot, dude. I think Jerome said that. He said like that's almost like the Marines of the game.
It is.
You know what I mean?
It is.
And I said I never heard it put like that, but he's right. He's 100% right, man. So it's tough, man. And so what got you over the hump when you was like after that third day, like this is garbage? Like did you just keep coming back? Just keep like
I kept coming back, but not only that, I've said in my show, the Drop Off, y'all, we're gonna plug that later.
Yeah.
But this place that we work is a fraternity.
It's a fraternity. It's a brotherhood. Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
The brothers didn't let me give up.
Yeah.
They didn't let me.
You got cats that'll keep.
Yeah. They didn't let me fail.
Yeah. That's good, man. Especially if you chop it up with the right brothers. You know what I mean? Like iron sharpens iron. They're going to keep you tight. And if you want to succeed, you know what I mean? A lot of people tap out and I'm gone. I'm quit. I remember a quick story. I remember it was a dude that he was working at a gas station, right? And he used to see me coming there, and I think he jumped one time or something. He's like, man, I'm trying to get to that driver, man. I said, okay. This was before it was, now it's hard to get somebody in. But I was like, okay, man, let me see what I can do. Put his app in. He got in. He was he did everything. He went through the preload fast. He got to driving real quick. I used to see him, man, that's good, man. Keep doing your thing. You need anything, holler at me. You know what I mean? I'm trying to mentally walk him through it. I know he might be to get the physical part, but mentally, right? So then some time went by and I didn't see him no more. I'm like, damn, where old boy go? I wonder what happened. Like, dang, that's weird. So I hit him up. I'm like, hey, man, where you been at? I couldn't do it, man.
Question. How many people have you got that job and they not there no more?
I stopped doing it.
Me too.
I stopped doing it because it's a bad look.
After number 4, I was like,
bad look. I said, you on your own, though.
I can't help nobody get this job in here no more.
He said, man, I started cramping up my leg. I said, bro, I said, you just hadn't done that kind of work. You was probably going to get used to it. But I thought about it. I said, man, all you went through to get to that?
And you gave it up.
And you gave it up like that? And you go back to the gas station? I was just like, wow, it takes a special kind of cat to go through it. But like, the much as he went to get through it, I'm like, dang, how could you? I said, man, I could have told you what to do. You know what I mean? As far as your body, why it just blew my mind, dude, because he really wanted it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
sometimes, we think we want things. I thought I wanted to be a professional athlete.
Yeah.
I thought I wanted to go overseas and play basketball.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
No, you didn't.
No, I didn't.
It changes.
It changes.
You know what I mean? It does.
Because we are ever evolving people.
Right.
Like not everyone is evolving.
Right.
You are never the same person. Like if you look back on yourself, you shouldn't be. There you go. You shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Like the most of us who are progressing through life, you're not the same person you were 30 days ago.
Right. Yeah.
And I'll catch myself finding that out about myself. Like, as of, recently I've been saying no to things that
you used to say yes
I used to say, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm with this.
Yeah.
Now,
right.
Now I'm like, nah, man, I ain't doing that no more.
That's wisdom and everything. And understanding yourself and knowing you evolve too. And it was times, I think we spoke about this too, where like, you know what? I'm pretty much cool on this job now. Because it's a lot on you, bro. And I just thought about it. I'm like, okay, if I can do this, like, what else can I do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I've always had, and thank God, I've always had some other stuff going on. But one thing I did realize that UPS was feeding everything else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was always, because every job I always had, I just looked at it as a hustle to feed my entrepreneur or any other stuff I was doing. So that's what I kept in the back of my mind. You know what I mean? I always, that kind of kept me going like, okay, you know what, bro, this is Like the thing is, can you turn earned income into passive income? Whether it be, something digital or something that you ain't got, it's a saying I think Warren Buffett said, until you find a way to make money in your sleep, you're going to work till you die.
Yep.
Now, when you produce content or put stuff up, say you might have links or offers or stuff in there, the internet is 24/7. So I do it one time, it can work for you the rest of your life. You know what I mean? So that's always been my goal, to be able to have some type of passive income flowing. So it keeps it in my mind. Well, you got to keep feeding this thing till you get it off the ground.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's always my thing with it. But you talked about your show. What was the inspiration behind the Drop Off Podcast? J.Love do guys a podcast called the Drop Off Podcast, where he interviews drivers on their triumphs, troubles, and outcomes, a day in the life of UPS drivers. So what was the inspiration behind that, man?
Man, the whole inspiration to this show is literally everybody that I have met as a UPS driver doing this job, everybody that I work with, because you go in the building sometimes and like you see the different cliques of people.
Yeah, the little groups of people. Yeah,
and I was sitting back, just like observing one day, and I was observing how many people actually hit all the different groups.
Okay, like and one person that bounce around.
And one of the days, I recognized in myself, like, I know everybody. Not like I know everybody, but everybody who's open and everybody who's open and is personable. We all know each other.
Yeah.
And then I started from the relationships that I have with people, I'm like, oh man, if you knew about this guy, right? Y'all would be way more closer friends than y'all are.
Yeah.
And then on the entrepreneurial business side, I'm like, oh, I know you do this and I know you do this.
Yeah.
Why y'all ain't ever talked? Y'all should have been had a conversation.
No.
Yeah.
And you can work with somebody 10 years.
And
dude, I never knew you was into that. Because you never go past the surface level conversations.
Right. This is a perfect example of what we're doing right now.
Right.
Like, D.Fos, how have we not been way more closer than we have been in these last few years? I should have, 10 years ago, I should have been like, hey, D.Fos, what's up, man? But, like I've said on my show before, when you knew, you just don't go up to the monoliths.
Right.
You don't do that.
And it happens. It happens.
Yeah, it has to happen naturally.
And it happens organically. You know what I mean? Like, I knew CJ. And then when I'm like, okay, if he tapped in with CJ, he got to be on that. He got to be about that talk. You know what I mean? So that kind of opened the door right there. So I think it's just gradual without being over aggressive, without being saying, okay, what this cat on? Why you approaching me like that? But I knew it was something special about you, bro. Just how you carried yourself.
Appreciate
like you can, like I'm real big on. I read energy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So I knew, like I say, the way that you handle yourself with them supervisors and all that.
Yeah,
I said it's a stand-up cat, and I knew you was young. You know what I mean. But you had like a seasoned spirit. So it's just a matter of time. So that was interesting, man. And so you just popped that podcast off when, like, what was it? Was it 2020 or 2021?
It was 2022.
Was it?
Yeah. It was,
you racked up some episodes, man.
I did my first season, 11 episodes. To try the idea out, and it was way more successful than I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
It was,
you had something, bro. I knew you had something, man.
It was very well received.
Yeah, well received.
And I think one of the shining parts about what I do is, unless you're a UPS driver, you don't really know the stories that happen to us.
Yeah.
You don't know that
the everyday stuff
you don't know you could be delivering, and there's sometimes houses be on fire.
Yeah.
And then people be like, oh, am I about to go in here and see if I can save somebody?
Yeah, I got to get this air off. Hey, I'm gonna holler back at you. I got to go. You know what I mean? Yeah. Stuff like we talked about. People come to the door all kind of ways. It depends on what side of town you're on, the east side or whatever, man. So very interesting stories, man. Yeah. Very interesting story. How did you tap Alan, man? Shout out to Alan Williams as being your first guest. How did y'all kind of click like that? How did you...
Besides Q, Alan was the first person I knew. Okay. Or not the first person. He was one of the only people I knew outside of UPS before I started here.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So when I had first got to Vegas, there used to be a little smoke shop I would go to buy cigarettes, and Alan worked there. So I would see Alan every day.
Oh, so you and Alan go back, huh?
I knew Alan for years before I even thought about being a UPS driver.
Really? So did you go driving before him?
I did.
I
did.
Okay.
And I remember because I had moved.
Mm-hmm.
So then I stopped, like seeing Alan every day. We would still talk about it, and I didn't see him every day anymore. And then I walk up to the truck one day to start my training route because I used to preload at a different building than Alan. I preloaded at the South building.
And
so
he was preloading at the North.
And he was loading my truck.
I bet you was like,
I was like, bruh, what you doing here? He was like, man, I'm trying to do the same thing you doing.
That is crazy.
So Alan's like part of my little internal fraternity. There's quite a few of us that we all started at the same time, and we all made sure we all made it.
Okay, and you know Q too, huh?
I knew Q. Me and Q went to the same high school 2 times.
Q's from Cali, huh? Yeah, twice. Wow, that's crazy. Has he been on the show yet?
No, I'm trying to. Q's my boy, man. He's not really a public.
Yeah, they don't see. He's
very reserved.
Yeah,
but I try to tell him because he's super intelligent, man.
Yeah, he really
is super intelligent, and I'll be trying to like bring him out the shell sometimes. To like, man, like express that. Let people. When
you
know
have a conversation with him, you really realize. And I had a few conversations. I realized this dude's sharp, but he's not out front with it like that. And
I think it's also too like a lot of people wouldn't get that from him because if you know Q, if you just look at him. He looks like he's just gonna beat you up.
Right.
He
do.
He looks like
That's why you never can really judge a book by its cover.
You can't. And a lot of people unfortunately do that.
And he has that presence. He's tall and what I mean, like come from the banging culture and all that. So you wouldn't think that. You know what I mean? That is wild. That's wild. But shout out to the show, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Much success to it, man. I was honored to be a guest on it. You know what I mean?
I appreciate you having me. I got so much good feedback from our show
episode. It was good. I think even to this day, it seemed like Al Slow. Shout out to Slow Al Thyman. It's like he was one of the biggest episodes. It seemed like he was. To
this day, Al is my biggest episode because I call Al the Dos Equis man.
He really
he's been everywhere.
He really
been everywhere.
Well traveled.
Well
traveled. Had you had Mike Smith on there yet?
No, not yet. He's soon to come though. I'm trying to get him to open up season 2, which will be out real soon.
The
next couple of weeks.
That was hilarious. Will Born and Taurus on it. That, like you say, pure comedy because that's all you gonna get out of Taurus.
Comedy. When I say
that's all you gonna get out of here, man.
I talk to them 2 dudes every day.
Every day, I know.
Every day, a fascinating question comes up. Something amazing comes up where we can talk about that subject literally for 2 days.
God, that's crazy, man. And it helps the day go by, y'all on the phone. So Taurus is a damn fool, man. That's crazy. What do you think about the podcasting game and now that you a voice in the space? Like before that, had you been a fan of podcasts? Had you listened to podcasts?
Yes, I had been definitely a fan of podcasts before I jumped into the space. But what really makes me want to stay in it is, this is going to sound, I don't know how this is going to sound, but okay. I don't necessarily care about making money with it. Even though I would love to. Hey, anybody hearing this, you want to sponsor me? Shoot me, come sponsor the board. Right,
absolutely.
I would love that. Okay. So of course, like making money from it would be nice.
At the end of the day.
Something like this, like how me and you just get to like talk and the things I've learned from conversations of others, and then the conversations I've had with people have been
priceless.
They've been priceless. They've been priceless. So not only can you learn from other people's conversations, it is like a relationship builder.
It really is. It really is. Yeah. It really is. And I think that, like you say, of course, it would be great to do. Even like this is just what I do. Like, if I find a way to monetize it, okay, that's good. I'm always looking for it, right? But this is innately, like, it's like breathing to me, bro. I've been doing this since day one. So this is not necessarily doing podcasts and stuff, but content. It just evolved to this based on where I've been creating content before content creation was around. I've been a creative all my life. So when this era came around, I'm like,
this was made for you. This was made for you.
For this. So let me figure out how to present myself in this era, right? And like you say, of course it'd be great, but this is just what I do. You know what I mean? And I think too, like what you said, I think that's why Joe Rogan, of course he's the top dog, he's the name, but I think that's why he's so well versed because of the diversity of guests he has and the stuff he can learn.
Mm-hmm.
So just like off your show, the people I talk to, you gain a lot. Some people gain, they get information, they learn from reading, and some people learn through conversation.
Yeah, some
and
people
the stories you have.
Audible listeners.
So I think that right there,
learners.
You can't put a price on it.
Mm-hmm.
And if nothing else comes from it, it's the conversations you have and the lessons you learn. And I tell people too, you don't have to go through the hardship. You can extract the lesson without the hardship.
Absolutely.
A 15-minute conversation, I tell my son this, a 15-minute conversation might save you 5 years of your life.
Yep.
Sit down and chop it up with somebody. You know what I mean?
100%.
So definitely, man. But much more success to the show, man. And I just want to see it keep growing, man, and keep evolving.
Yeah,
man,
like you, it's what I do now.
Yeah, it's just what I do.
It feels so natural that, hey, you were supposed to do this now.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
And you was a natural for it, bro. You was a natural for it.
I figured that out.
Your personality, your voice, your flow, like you was a natural for it. And a lot of people think like, give you a prime example. And I know we about to wrap up here in a minute. Prime example, like, okay, I work at UPS, right? That's something that I do. That's not who I am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's a distinction. And I can't do who I am full time right now, of course, because I need something to feed it. But like it's the opposite for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I would be doing this regardless.
Right.
You know what I mean? So much love, my brother, man. Anything else, man, we need to know about you, man? Definitely, we're going to put the links in the show title about the Drop Off Podcast. Y'all tap into them, subscribe, check them out. Anything else we need to know about you, J.Love, man?
Oh, man. You know what? Y'all should mess with me, man.
Yeah.
Hey, and not only y'all should mess with y'all UPS drivers, and y'all should do that. All right, be nice to leave us snacks.
Yes, so yeah,
right?
Snacks be on deck.
And if you ever want to just you bored throughout the day, or you just want to hear a real good story, something that you probably never heard before, listen to the Drop Off, man. We probably got a few stories you never heard of.
It's gonna keep you intrigued for
sure.
It's gonna keep you intrigued, man. D.Fos Podcast.
Thanks for having me,
J.Love,
brother.
man. Much love. Good chop up, my brother. Till next time, man. Peace. Signing off.
Peace out.